Hello and welcome to this week's yoga sequence, taking inspiration from our fish in front of our house this week actually. We do have the river and I think there is a pike in the river, but it needs cleaning up, our river, like so many here in the UK. So we will have fish, more fish one day. But for now, our beautiful fish in our pond have given us lots to think about into today's sequence. So we've taken breath, movement, speed, shape as ideas for the sequence. And if any of it doesn't feel right for you, then just to remind you, it's all an invitation and to listen to your body. This time is very much about you making space and time to tune in to what's happening. So just let's go, I think. Let's get happening on the mat. So get yourself comfortable. Get yourself into a seated position or a lying down position, something that's comfortable. I've been keeping socks on because it's a bit colder here at the moment. We're just going into autumn, but I think I'm warmed up now. But keep layers on if that's what you need. And I'm just going to invite you to either close your eyes or lower your gaze and create some space in the spine, space between the armpits and the hips, and a lengthening in the neck between the ears and the tops of the shoulders. What do you notice is happening in your body right now? Are there areas of tension, heaviness, lightness? Are there areas of... I've got a bit of a dull ache in my spine. I had them this morning, so I don't know whether, again, you've got some dull aches going on somewhere. But just listening to what your body is trying to tell you. And if you haven't already, I invite you to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. It's quite worth visualizing, sending the breath as you breathe it in, sending it to those parts of the body that are needing your energy, needing your attention. If you haven't already, I invite you to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. Noticing whether your inhale or your exhale is longer, whether you're needing energy or if you've got more energy than normal. We're going to take an equalizing breath just to help us center and calm us. If it doesn't suit you, the timing and the rhythm, then just breathe to your own capacity and rhythm. I'm going to invite you to just take a breath in and out for yourself. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Last time, breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathing out. 2, 3, 4, 5. And returning to your own easy, natural breath for a moment. We're going to focus on some ocean breath for a moment, in keeping with our fish theme, but also just helping us with our energy, growing our energy for this morning. So to create that kind of snore sound, you can either drop the chin down towards either the neck or the chest, or some people just like to move the head a little backwards on the neck, just creating a light constriction on the air passage, so you're kind of getting that sound as you breathe in and out. So we're going to take roughly about 10 rounds in our own time, just for ourselves. So breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in. Breathing 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 out. Last 2 breaths for yourself. We're just returning to your own easy, natural breath. We're going to bring our palms in front of us. We're going to give our palms a rub, generating some heat in the palms of those hands. And then when you feel you've got a good heat going on, bring those palms over the eye sockets, just allowing that heat to transfer from the palm to the eye socket. And then when you're ready, just lowering those palms, bring those fingertips over the eyes and just allowing the eyes to flicker open and bring you back into the space. And we're going to take ourselves into staff pose initially, sometimes known as mermaid pose for keeping our secrets. If you want to, it can be quite helpful. In fact, I might do that today. Just have a little blanket to just raise the seat up a little bit, just at the back, not all the way underneath, not like that, just a little bit at the back, just to tip the pelvis forward, and it just opens up and just creates a little bit more space and movement. So again, and again, if you want for your any back issues or even leg issues, just to take the tension off the legs and the back spine, you can use some blocks underneath the knees as well. So just listening to how your body feels. We are going to start with a breath in, flexed feet, and as we breathe out, we're going to point our toes. Breathing in, flexing the feet. Breathing out, pointing the toes. That's nice. And there you go. Breathing in. And as we breathe out, nice strong point. Exploring the motion of the toes, the range of motion in the feet as you breathe in. That's it, working through the toes to point. And then bring the feet back to neutral. Going to take the hands out in a nice flex to complement the feet here. And as we're going to point and flex alternate feet. So we're going to start with the right hand and the right foot pointed and the left hand and the left foot flexed. And we're going to take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to change. Take a breath in and change. Breath in, breath out. breath in, change, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. This is a bit like an anemone sequence, I say. Breath in, change. Last time, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. Lovely. And then from there, bring the hands onto the lap. We're just going to, again, just feel that length through the spine. Take a breath in. Let the chin come onto our chest. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Bring the head neutral. Breath out, tipping the head back, stretching the front of the throat. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Bring the head neutral. Breath in. Looking over your right shoulder as you breathe out. Breath in. Bring the head neutral. Breath out. Looking over your left shoulder. Breath in. Bring the head neutral. As you breathe out, incline the head to the right. Breath in. Breath out, bring the head neutral. Breath in. Inclining to the left this time. Breath in. Bring the head neutral. Breath in. Going to drop the chin to the chest. And then from here we're going to circle round to the right. So we're breathing in as we circle from the front to the back. And as we breathe out, we're coming from the back to the front, completing that circle round to the right. And go again. Breath in. And out. And other way. Breath in. As you circle the head from the front to the back. And then round, breathing out. Breath in. Breathing out. And now bring the head center, neutral again. We're going to breathe in, bring the shoulders in front and up to our ears. And as we breathe out, take them behind into the back. And again, breathing in, bring the shoulders up to the ears. Taking them behind. And then other ways, circling, bringing in. Shoulders come up to the ears and then in front. And again. Coming in front and down. And then from there, I'm going to put I'm going to mirror you here. So you're going to just do the opposite of what I'm doing. So you're going to put your left hand onto the ground next to your left hip. You're going to bring up your right hand and come over to the left. Taking a nice strong side bend here. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in, come up. Breath out, bring that right hand down to the side. And then as you inhale, taking that left hand up. And then coming over to the right. Breathing in. And just taking again some breaths here. And out. Breath in. And out. Breath in. Bring the body upright. Release that left hand, putting it onto the ground, and then taking that right hand up into there. And we're just going to take some quicker side bends here as we breathe out. Then we breathe in. Bring yourself upright, letting that right hand travel down to the ground and bring that left hand over. Breathing in. Bring the body upright, releasing that left hand, bring the right hand over. Breathing in. And 2 more times. We're just getting literally from side bend to side bend. Nice and strong, like we're just seaweed dancing or plant in the water. Lovely. I'm just going to release that left hand, bring ourselves center. And then from here, we're going to bring ourselves over our legs into a forward fold. So again, whatever works for us, you can have your hands on your legs, hands either side, hands around your feet, even fingers around the toes. We are trying to keep a straight back though this time. We're not letting ourselves curl over. We're wanting to kind of, this blanket's hopefully helping just to kind of go that range of movement in the pelvis and bringing ourselves forward. We're going to take some strong breaths here and out. Breath in and out. Breath in and out. Last breath for yourself. And out. Trying to keep that spine straight. I must listen to what I say sometimes. Taking a breath in, bringing ourselves upright. And from here, we're going to just bring our knees into our chest, just to give ourselves a little bit of a reset after that. And then from here, we're going to extend, I'm still mirroring you at this point. We're going to extend our right leg and we're going to cross over our left leg if you feel comfortable to do that. If not, you can take it there. And then from here, we're going to take our left hand behind our back. We're going to take our right elbow across our left knee and we're going to create asana, Lord of the Fishes pose. So just a spinal twist here, using that right arm as leverage to twist around in the spine. Looking over that right shoulder. And then there's a constant movement in yoga. I know everyone always thinks that you're holding a pose, but it's either breath or the spine or something's extending and growing. And I think this is a really good pose to remind ourselves that we're either growing in the twist round to the right, or we're growing upwards, or we're growing our breath. But using our breath to explore today where our body needs to go. Last breath for yourself. Bring the head center as you breathe in. Bring the body around, releasing that right arm, that left arm. And then from there, uncrossing the left leg, bringing it into the chest. And then from here, we're going to take a forward fold, either with the foot pressing into the side of that right leg, so as we coming over, or if you want to, you can take ourselves into triangle with the nose, knee, foot. So again, if you're here, just maybe taking that calf out, letting that knee rest on the ground. You may need a bit more of a block or fold that blanket up a little bit more just to balance those hips. You want nice square hips. So you're keeping yourself nice and even along the back as you bring yourself forward. So just listening to the body. And then once you're in a good, strong position for yourself, bringing yourself over. And again, we're not collapsing. We're stretching along the spine and the back of the leg. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And last time for yourself. Breath in, breath out. And then bringing your body upright from wherever you are. Just bringing that foot gently round to meet the other foot. And then just a little kind of pedal through the legs just to get the blood flowing again. And then we're going to bring the legs back up into another chest squeeze. And then from here, we're going to extend the left leg out. And if we're comfortable to crossing that right leg over, taking our right arm behind us, we're going to bring the left arm round to the knee. And we're just going to take a twist in the spine here as we're using that left arm as a little bit of leverage. There we go. And then looking over that left shoulder, if that works for you. Again, listening to your body here. Lord of the fishes. I suppose we could look a bit like a fishing rod here. It's a lovely story. I'd hate to get it wrong, so I'm going to wait for another class to share it with you. But taking a breath in and out, growing that spine, either round to the left or bringing it upright. Lovely. Feeling that release in the spine. Last breath for yourself. And then from there, bring the head and center, releasing that right arm. Bring the body round, bringing that right foot over, giving it a squeeze. And then from there, either bringing that right foot in compression to the side of the left leg, if that works for you, or if you want to, again, just taking that left leg out to the side. So we're just maybe taking that chunky calf, if you've got calves like me, just out to the side so that knee can make full contact with the ground. So you should have your foot, your knee and your seat making contact with the ground. And then from there, taking the hands either side of however you're taking this forward fold. Nice long spine, again, not crunching over, and just taking some breaths to either grow the fold as you come forward or grow the fold to come up and out of the spine. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. Last time for yourself. Breath in. And then bringing yourself upright on the next in-breath, gently bringing that right foot round to meet the other leg. A little bit of a, just pedal through the knees, just to kind of, again, just reset the legs, get that blood flowing. Just going to move any props out of the way. And then from here, you might be forward on your mat already, but I'm going to just take myself onto my back from here. And we're going to rock. So we're going to breathe in as we rock back, breathe out as we come up. And again, breathe in, breathe out, just massaging that spine. Breathe in and then rocking up into boat. Taking boat that suits you. So just tuning into what works for your lower back. If your lower back's feeling pretty tender, then keeping the legs low. If you want a bit more challenge, again, always engaging the tummy. And you can even straighten those legs if you want to. Breath in, breath out. Find that balance in the seat. Open that chest if you can. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. And then getting ready to move back into that rock. We're going to take it again. In and out. In and out. And again, in. And then rocking into boat for yourself. It could be the same position as before. You might want to make it a bit easier on yourself. I'm just going to just stretch my toes out. They're feeling a little bit more like they need some attention. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. Crossing those legs over, and then from here we're going to take ourselves into tabletop. So I'm just going to get rid of these. So from tabletop we're going to take ourselves into child's pose. So just opening those knees just a little to allow for the head and the shoulders to come down. So toes touching knees just slightly apart, resting the forehead on the ground. And from here, resting the forehead on the ground is actually quite important as we try to lift up our right hand, keeping the arms straight. So breath in, raising that right arm up. And as we breathe out, lowering it. You might need to stop and look at the camera because the hand is not coming very high off the ground. It's more like a movement you're feeling in the shoulder blade, the shoulder joint, and down. That's the left. Raising the right.
Breathing in, breathing out. So it's quite powerful, but quite small. Breathing in, lifting the left hand. And out. But we've done that so that when we now move over to the right, we can continue that paddle, that movement of the hand, alternately lifting off the ground as we take ourselves over to the right in child's pose for a stretch and a bend over to the right. Stretching out the left lung. Breathing nice and deeply into that space that you've created here. So really focusing on that as you're breathing in and out. Breathing in. And as you breathe out, bringing those hands alternately paddling, pushing them off the ground and taking yourself over to the left. So through center, over to the left. And then once you're at your range, stretching through and breathing deeply into that right side that you've opened up for yourself. Breath in and out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And then paddling those hands back to center. And then from here we're going to take ourselves into a cat position in tabletop. So that we take a breath in from our child's pose on the floor, scooping our tummies, arching our back over, breathing in and out. And then as we bring ourselves forward into upward dog, we're bringing our chest through our shoulders, raising our gaze to the ceiling. Breath in. And as we push back, keeping our chest still pushing through the shoulders as we return to child's pose. And then lastly, bringing that forehead back into contact with the ground. And then again, as soon as you're there, you're coming back up again, breathing in, curling that back over, letting that head drop between the hands, the arms, pulling that pelvis tight and under, and then we're bringing ourselves forward into upward dog, like a ripple through the body, releasing that chest, that gaze to the sky into cow, and then pushing back, keeping that chest forward, that gaze up for as long as possible till you come back to child's pose, and then literally as soon as the head touches the ground, you're off again. So breathing in into your cat here, and then out as you scoop over, making that arch as strong and tight as possible, and then releasing forward into cow, taking that gaze up, releasing that chest, and then pushing back, allowing that chest to keep coming forward, that gaze, that compression in the neck, until the last possible moment. And then we're going to grow this sequence as we take our nose now along the mat. It's like we're hovering our nose along the mat until we come forward into cobra, hands under the shoulders, lifting the upper back off the ground. And when you're there, breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, then pushing up off the hands as you breathe out, taking the bottom into the air, elbows onto the mat for puppy position. Breath here in and out. Bring that chest forward, keeping that gaze forward like a puppy watching a ball. So there's a strong compression in the neck here. Breath in. And then pushing back into child's pose. And then once you're there, forehead comes into contact again, and you start traveling with your nose skimming the top of your mat until you come forward into cobra. Breath in. Growing the upper back bend, bring those and out. Shoulders back. Breath in, pushing up on the hands. Bring the hips up into the air, trying to keep the hips above the knee here for a nice strong puppy. And looking forward, bringing that chest forward. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And then pushing back into child's pose. Again, looking forward into the last possible moment, and then bring that forehead back into contact with the ground, and then you're off again, skimming that nose along and forward. Extending the head into cobra. Breath in and out. Breath in. Pushing up on those hands, taking yourself into puppy. Breath in and out. Pushing that chest forward, taking that gaze along in front of the floor. Breath in and out. Pushing back into child's pose. And then once again, you're skimming, but we're going to take it differently now. So the head is still extending forward, but you're not going into cobra. You're going to keep the head in line with the spine. Take the hands out along the body and lifting the arms and legs and the upper back just a little bit into shark, sometimes known as locust. But for the purpose of this sequence, we're going to keep it as shark pose. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, bring the feet to the floor, curling the toes up. We're going to push our hips up into downward dog, and then from there take the elbows to the ground into dolphin, keeping that look along the mat in front and that chest forward. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. Bring the knees down, taking yourself back into child's pose, still looking forward till the last possible moment. And then when the forehead comes into contact, you're off again, taking your nose along the mat, extending forward like a sea snake, taking those arms long along the body, raising the arms, the legs, the upper back, keeping the head in line with the spine. For shark, breath in, breath out, breath in. Bring the hands underneath the shoulders, bring the feet back in contact with the mat, curling the toes under, and then from there we're going to push the hips up into the air, taking the elbows down to the ground for dolphin, and then from there pushing with our forearms into the ground, taking that gaze in front, feeling that stretch down the back of the legs. Breath in and out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, bring the knees down to the mat, taking ourselves into child's pose for a moment. And while we're here, we're just going to relax everything in the body. Just let go of everything. Let the body reset. And while we're here, just going to just take some more breath and prepare as we take ourselves up very gently and kindly into downward dog. This is a generous downward dog where we're really listening to the body, what it needs from us. Does it need a pedal through the feet? Oh, maybe. My feet need it. But what do your feet need? Pushing into the hands, letting my shoulder blades slide around alternately. Oh, that feels good. We've been at the desk quite a bit this week. This might be a good one for you. And then when you're ready, we're going to walk our feet up towards our hands to the top of the mat. And then from here, we're going to just take our elbows in our hands and just take a moment to just angle the body. A bit like we're leaning out of a window, a ledge of some sort. The body is just kind of collapsed over those thighs. Just letting maybe a little bit of movement there as well. Just what feels right. And then just feeling that space in the spine. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Releasing the hands to the floor, and then from there just gently curling through the spine. Very slowly curling even that head till absolutely last. And then from there, finding ourselves
Might be a bit of a swoony. Tadasana, so just taking your time, taking some breath. But once you're there, just finding some alignment through the body. Maybe bringing hips over the heels and the heart over the hips. That works for me, but you've got to find your own kind of alignment, what feels right. Making sure your feet feel alive and ready, because we're going to take a couple of sun salutations from here. So when you're ready, taking a breath in, bring the energy and breath into the hands, bringing it into heart, pressing those hands together, taking ourselves forward into fold. Taking a breath here in, breath out. Stepping back into plank. Lowering into chaturanga. Extending forward into either cobra or upward dog. And from there, taking ourselves into downward dog. You can step or jump, whatever works for you, to bring your feet up towards your hands at the top of the mat. Taking yourself into a forward fold. Inhaling into a half fold. Returning to forward fold. And then from there, taking breath, taking the hands to the side, bringing them into prayer. Bring that breath and energy into the body and taking it out into Tadasana again. And from here, we're going to take another breath in, taking it into the heart, bringing ourselves down into a forward fold. Inhaling into a half fold, lowering into a forward fold, stepping back into plank, lowering into chaturanga, extending forward into either cobra or upward dog. From here, taking the hips up and back for downward dog. From here, we're going to take a breath in and extend our right foot up into the sky for three-legged dog. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out, and swing that right leg through to the inside of the right hand for crescent lunge. And curling that back foot. Beautiful crescent arms, crescent legs. Chest, gaze up to the sky. Breath in, breath out. Letting those shoulders just fall away. Breath in and out. We're going to circle the right arm past the right ear behind us and come back into our original arms. Breath in, taking the left arm behind the left ear, circling behind us. And finding our arms together, both arms. Breath in, move behind our ears, circling round and coming back in an opposite direction. Bring the arms forward, behind, up and over. And then from here, we're going to take a breath in. Take our hands either side of that right foot as we take half splits. So we're lengthening that right front leg. We're taking our hands either side. Sometimes, depending on our body and how we're working, it's helpful to have some blocks. But it really, again, just depends on where you're at. But keeping that nice vertical there and a fold, not a hunch over that front leg. Take some breaths in and out. Breath in and out. Breath in and out. Last breath to yourself. And you can take a breath in. You're going to bring yourself into warrior one on the right side. So you're going to just bring that left foot in just a little bit so you've got a nice secure base. Bring those hands up and strong. Good. Bringing that chest out towards the sky. From here, just pressing into the ground with that right foot and that left foot, feeling that you've got a secure base to work from. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. You're going to open our shoulders to the left to take warrior two. So stretching through the arms in opposite directions, looking along that right arm. Breath in. Sometimes it helps to just open that base a little bit too. Breath in. Straightening that front right leg. Turning those hands to the front and then tipping into Trikonasana on the right side. So taking that left arm nice and strong and up to the sky, and that left arm down. Now you can take the right arm here either onto the leg if that works for you, or you can bring it in front and use it as a bit of leverage to bring you round. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to bend that right leg to bring ourselves into a lunge, taking that right elbow onto that right thigh, and the left hand's coming over here. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Last time, breath in. And as you're breathing out, you're going to bring your left hand in front of your right foot. And take that right hand up to the sky. And then from there, you can take that right, you can look up to that right hand if that works for you for a full spinal twist here. But if not, just bring the head straight for twisted side lunge. Breath in, breath out, breath in. Pushing into the ground with that left hand, energizing that right arm. Breath in. Bring that right hand down to the mat, and we're going to bring ourselves into crescent lunge. Again, bring the arms up to the sky, coming forward, making sure that knee is over that ankle and not in front or behind. Breath in. We're going to breathe out and return to half splits just a couple of times here. So just make sure you've got a strong base. Breath in to come forward. Breath out to come back into half splits. Breath in to come forward. And then from here, bring hands either side of that right foot. Taking that right foot, we're going to take a vinyasa. So plank, chaturanga, coming forward into cobra or upward dog. And then taking ourselves back into downward dog. And then just as we did, we're going to take a breath in, take that left leg up into the air this time. Breath in, breath out, breath in. And then swing that left leg through to the inside of the left hand, taking crescent lunge with the left leg in front. So taking those arms up and to the sky, that chest too. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, pushing down into that left leg. This time we're going to take a breath in. We're going to circle the left arm behind the left ear first time, bringing up everything, moving and floating. Right arm past right ear, circling behind and bringing up. Breath in. Both arms behind, coming round and up. And then breath in, arms come forward, circling the other direction. And up. Breath in. And out. Breath in. Arms come either side of that front left leg, and we're going to push back into half splits, just like we did on the other side. So extending along that left leg. That should be feeling the stretch along there if you can. Again, blocks if needed. Just listening to what the body needs from you today. But the intention here is to find a comfortable fold and grow through breath in. Breathing out, so either extending along that spine or allowing the spine to just drop a little lower, increasing that flexion in the left leg. Breath in and out. Breath in, breath out. Last breath for yourself. Breath in. From here, we're going to bring ourselves forward into warrior one on the other side. So we're going to take ourselves up into warrior one. So nice secure base, like we did on the other side. Arms up, breath in and out. Gaze towards the sky. Breath in, maybe bring that right hip a little bit round if you need to, just to square up the front of the mat. And out. Breath in, opening the arms and the shoulders to the right of your mat to create warrior two. So extending long and wide. It's a nice stretch through the arms. Breath in and out. Breath in and out. Breath in. You're going to straighten that front leg, turn those hands to the front as you take Trikonasana on the left. So tipping, so keeping a nice even space if you can between the armpits and the hips. Taking either your gaze forward or to the upper hand. Hand can be on the shin if that works. Again, it might be different on each side. So just listening. And out. Breath in. And out. Last breath for yourself. As you breathe out, we're going to bend that left leg into a lunge, taking that left elbow on the left thigh, bringing the right hand over for side angle lunge. Breath in and out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. Bring that right hand down to the side of the left foot, and then from there taking the left hand up towards the sky. So you're getting a twisted side lunge, twisted angle side lunge. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. Bring that left hand to the other side of that left foot and then bring yourself into crescent lunge on that left leg again. So crescent shaped legs wherever you are, crescent shaped arms. So I like to think of the arms crescenting in that way. Breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to push up on that left leg and take yourself into half splits and breathing out. Breath in, bring yourself forward into crescent lunge. As you breathe out, taking half splits again. Taking breath in into crescent lunge. Breath in. Take your hands either side of that left leg for vinyasa. So taking that left foot behind into plank, lowering into chaturanga, extending forward into cobra or upward dog, and then bringing yourself back into child's pose. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. From here, I'm going to invite you to come up into tabletop, and then from there we're going to turn and bring ourselves onto our backs for some back sequencing. So we're going to take ourselves into half shavasana on our backs, taking our hands to either side of the hips, taking a breath in, dropping our knees over to the right. So just creating a very gentle twist in the spine. You can take your gaze over to the left if you want to grow that twist a little bit more in the spine, but again, just listening to what feels right for you. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in. Bringing the head center, followed by the legs center. Making sure the base back of the spine is on the floor. Breath in, flopping the legs over to the left this time. And if you want to, taking a look over to the right. Or if it feels right, just keeping look straight ahead. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in. Bring the head center.
Bring the leg center. I'm just going to grow that a little bit. So we're going to take our right foot, we'll take our right ankle across our left knee, from like a half pigeon shape with the legs. And then from there, we're going to drop our legs over to the left. And then making sure getting that right foot in contact with the floor. And then from there, we're going to take the right knee and let it drop towards the floor, maybe taking the left knee. That's a little bit of pressure just to grow that. It's a deeper glute stretch, which might work for you. If it doesn't, just you can return, you can do whatever, just exploring where your body needs to stretch. But it can be quite powerful to have that glute stretch there. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, breath out. Breath in, releasing that pressure off that right knee, letting it come back up so the right foot's in contact with the floor, and then bringing the knees upright so they're in their starting position of half pigeon. And then from there, we're just going to release that right knee, bringing it into the chest for a squeeze. And then from there, bringing it back into half shavasana. I'm going to go the other way. So we're going to bring the left ankle across the right knee. And then from there, just tipping the legs over to the right. So that left foot comes in contact with the ground. And then once you're there, if you want to take that right hand and just allow that left knee to come down, a little bit more pressure. It's a really helpful stretch for the outside of that left thigh deep into the glute. Breath in and out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Last time, breath in. Breath out. And then from there, breath in, letting that knee come up. So the left foot's in contact with the ground. And then from there, bring the legs back up into that half pigeon position. And then from there, taking that left knee into the chest for a squeeze. And then returning it to half shavasana. So from here, we're going to move into fish pose. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you, you could take a bridge, or you could just enjoy the experience of the compression on the wrist. So we're going to rock ourselves to the left, bring our right hand under our right buttock, and then we're going to roll to the right and bring our left hand under our left buttock. So that in itself is quite nice, just feeling that release in the wrists. But it's really lovely to take this into fish. So we're going to push into our elbows, which are now to the side of us. So by pushing into the elbows, we're going to raise the chest off the ground. We're going to bring the top of the head into contact with the mat. And that can be just perfect as it is. I'm going to take it a little bit further by bringing the legs into play for this position, by bringing the legs up while in fish pose. Now, if that doesn't feel right, you can certainly like boat the legs, or you can bring the legs back into contact with the mat. Just listening to what your body needs. Taking some deep breaths. And do not look at me while I'm doing this on camera. Stop and look if you need to on the video. But don't look to your left or right. It's really bad for your neck and your spine. So breath in, breath out. And then we're going to bring the legs down back into half shavasana. Once we're there, just enjoy fish maybe for a breath more. Breath in, releasing the top of the head. It's quite hard to talk in that position. It's quite nice to release the chest back onto the mat and just enjoy that compression in the wrists one more time. And then from there, going to rock to the right, release the left wrist. Rock to the left, release the right wrist. And then from there, I'm actually going to ask us to come up very gently. So maybe rolling to our right and just gently bringing ourselves up to sitting just for a moment. We're just going to find a counter pose here in turtle. So we're going to take our legs out in front of us. So like slightly apart, almost to the sides of the mat actually. And then from there, take our hands under our calves, so that almost to the sides of the feet. And the idea is to create a compression in the arms with the use of the legs. So you can do it lots of ways. You can bring the legs closer together if that works for you. And you can use a bolster as well if you want to, just if it feels too much for the spine. Again, just listening to what your body needs in this position. But because we want to stretch the spine out in the opposite direction to what we just worked, we're going to curl the spine over. We're going to let the head drop between the legs. And we're going to take some breaths here. This is known as turtle or tortoise. Turtle for our fish sequence needs though. Breath in as we fold forward. Breath in. And out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Just letting go of any tension in the spine. Breath in. And out. Breath in. We're going to let the head come up very slowly so it doesn't rush too much. And then from there, we're going to bring our legs closer together to relieve any pressure on the arms. Bringing ourselves through. Just very gently, slowly allowing the head lastly to come up. And then taking that space that we've created in the spine, we're going to take ourselves into shavasana. So taking shavasana however you want to take it today. It could be with a blanket over just the feet. It could be hands, legs, everything more kind of sprawled. Just invite you to release and relax the body so you feel very comfortable, very at ease with the world. So you're very aware of where your body is making contact with the ground, and just using those moments for the body to release any tension into the ground. I'm going to invite you to release any tension in your toes, letting go of any heaviness in the arches of the feet. Thinking about the tension that you might be holding in your heels, your ankles, releasing any tension in the shins, letting the knees go heavy, letting the thighs release anything they're holding, letting the hips absolutely give up any tension they're holding, releasing anything in the diaphragm, anything in the intercostal muscles of the ribs, just letting that just breathe it out. In the sternum, let it lighten, releasing any tension in the palms, the wrists, the forearms, any tension in the elbows, the biceps, the triceps, letting go in the shoulders, releasing in the throat, releasing in the jaw, unclenching any tension, releasing the tongue from the top of the mouth,
Releasing any tension in the cheekbones, unfurrowing the brow, and allowing lightness into the top of the head. I'm going to leave you for a few moments to relax and release on your own. I invite you to become aware of your breath. Aware of where your body is on the mat right now. I invite you to connect with where your fingers, your toes, your arms and your legs are on the mat, and gently invite a movement into the body, into the fingers and the toes, the arms and the legs. And you can stay exactly where you are if that works for you. The joy of video is you can even pause and have a little snooze. But if you want to, I invite you to join me for a seated asana to close practice together. Gently taking yourself onto your side, rolling through and up, bringing your hands to your heart to say thank you to yourself for the time and the space that you have created for you to listen to your body, to learn what it needs from you this week. And a thank you to those that you've created practice with. You may be sharing practice with others in the room or just me and you. And I invite you to really reflect on what you've taken from today's practice and where possible, share it with others that you meet. Thank you.